we're covering every suturing technique you could possibly need as a future surgeon, a junior surgeon, maybe you're an even advanced surgeon. But we're going to cover every suturing technique you can need. You're going to learn all my tricks from the last 10 years that I've picked up that I think you need to know from the beginning. You can get this from our website, product is tagged below. Comes with sutures, sharps pad, instruments, and if you get it from our website, you also get this upgraded needle holder. Let's get started. So first thing we need to do is classify our sutures. You've got monofilament, braided, other braided things include silk, dissolvable, non-dissolvable. Preference depends on the situation. You can use whichever of these you would like, but the key is knowing what you want to do. So principles: dissolvable sutures in children because they don't like having stitches removed. Monofilament where you think there's a higher risk of infection, so you've debrided a wound. When you've got skin, so the really elderly or the really young, the dermis is really thin, the second layer, I prefer to use a braided suture because it has better grip, so less likely to rip out and cheese wire through. We need to start with our basics. Our basics is the interrupted. To do that, we have to be able to hold our instruments. Middle finger, ring finger. Middle finger's here, ring finger's here, thumb is here. So 2 fingers in the rings, middle finger's on the angle for support, index finger is for precision. Forceps are like this. One of the key things people do wrong when they're starting, when they're stressed, is they go into this position. So 2 things that are wrong here. The forceps should be on top of the finger. Your finger should be further down so you can apply gentle pressure between the teeth. If you hold it up here, you have to apply a lot more force to get those teeth closed. So if you just hold it down here, you have the mechanical advantage. In terms of the needle holder, don't let it go down your fingers. This is what happens when you're stressed. When you do that, you lose range of movement. Keep it in the pads of your fingers, and you can just gently lock and unlock the ratchet. If you look at the needle holders, they have this ratchet right here. You have to put down pressure on one, up pressure on the other to open it. So it doesn't require force, just gentle pressure. If you know how to drive a manual, I'm going to expose some of you here. If you know how to drive a manual, when you first learn to drive, you think you're in Fast and the Furious and you're a bit like, you know, put down the clutch and moving the stick really aggressively. And as you get more experience, you just realize you can just move it really gently. The ratchet is the same. It's just a gentle movement. The other way of holding the needle holder is the palmed grip. So your ulnar 3 fingers, little ring and middle, go on one side. They're going to push down. Your thenar eminence, these muscles here by your thumb, are going to push up and unlock it like that. So it works really well when you're using a bigger needle holder. This is just for skin, so it's a small tungsten carbide needle holder. So tungsten carbide, the gold means it's got better grip. And you can see that because it's got the kind of cross hatching at the teeth. So unlock it like that. Another way of palming it is like this. I tend to do that if I'm doing backhand. If your wrist rotates really nicely, then that's good for you. You don't have to keep your fingers in. My wrist doesn't really supinate or turn backwards too far. So to get more range of movement, I can twist the needle holder with the needle in it and start however I want. It's just an extension of your fingers. So this is the ideal position.